Well, welcome to another Henrico's Environmental Action Resource Team podcast. My name is Jeff Whitell, and we are here once again to talk about all things environmental. And we are here with some special guests today. We have Lauren Field, who is with the James River Cleanup.
That's right.
And Megan Brown, who is the executive coordinator for Keep Henrico Beautiful.
Yes.
So thank you for coming out this morning.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about a special event that's coming up pretty soon. Who wants to start?
I can go ahead and start.
Okay.
Well, me and Megan, we're helping put together the James River Advisory Council's 24th annual James River Regional Cleanup, which is going to be on September 9th.
Right.
And the cleanup is a collaborative effort of lots of different groups, lots of different localities and nonprofits. And so we have cleanup sites across the James River watershed and 8 different localities, 11 different sites total.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of these sites are accessible by boat. A lot of the sites are accessible by foot. Some are in parklands. And so there's really a place that's convenient for a lot of folks throughout the watershed, so you don't have to travel far. Right. And it's a great event for the community to come out and help enjoy nature and enjoy the James River and give a little bit back to the river.
Right. And so one of the things about the Heart Group is that we have subcommittees, and one of them is the Water Resources Committee. And this is definitely right up our alley. And Megan, if you could kind of talk a little bit about the tie-in to Henrico County with this event.
Oh, sure. So Henrico County has a location in the James River Regional Cleanup. We're at Osborne Park and Boat Landing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been there for, years and years. Possibly
it's one of the original sites.
Yeah. So 24 years.
Wow.
Henrico has been out at the boat landing.
Uh-huh.
And so we would love for people to come out, make the trip out. If you already live out that way, you probably are very familiar with the park. If you don't, it's just east on Route 5, and then you hit Osborne Turnpike. It's a very nice drive. You get to see people biking and walking along the Capitol Trail as you drive out there. And then you just get a spectacular view of the James River while you're cleaning up litter.
Wow. And this is going to be we are talking about the grand event, but we do need to try to focus on what's happening in Henrico area.
Sure.
And so this is going to be something that's going to be coordinated when people get there, coordinated through Keep Henrico Beautiful, as well as Recreation Parks, correct?
Yes, we will both be out there, and then we will have the Division of Solid Waste will come pick up the trash with one of our refuse trucks. So, we're excited again to be there.
Cool. Well, Lauren, I think you've had some experience with these things over the years.
A little bit, yeah.
Tell me what kind of, all right, maybe it's a multifaceted question, but why do this, and what kind of stuff, how does it help?
Okay. Well, first of all, our goal is to remove trash from the river, obviously. I mean, we wouldn't be doing it for any other reason. But we also hope to share the message that, that trash doesn't get there on its own. And that trash doesn't originate there most of the time.
Right.
It's not that there was some random careless river user who decided to toss their Coke bottle in the river. Most of the trash that we find floats in from other places in the watershed. Mm-hmm. So really, I think the message that we really want to send is that in order to protect the river, you need to be a little bit more responsible and mindful with your trash on land. Because if, for example, you're driving a load of trash to the dump and you have an uncovered load in the back of your truck, it could blow out the back of your truck, it could land on the street, it could get washed into a storm drain. Storm drain will carry your trash to the nearest creek, which then carries it on to the river. Mm-hmm. The same thing can happen at home. If you are leaving your trash by the curb and you don't put a top on your trash can and an animal gets in there at night like a raccoon and pulls your trash out, the same thing can happen there. It can wash into a storm drain onto a creek. So we really want to bring home the message that cleaning up the river is not only at the river itself, but it starts at home. And it starts on the streets, and it starts, in your neighborhood. And that's really how the watershed works. And that's sort of the main purpose of this event is to illustrate that fact. You can, sure, it's great to come out and clean up the river on the day of, but when you go home, let's be a little bit more mindful about what goes on in our own daily lives.
Right. And we've, with the Heart Group, we have had several opportunities, and Megan has had a lot of opportunities for outreach. And one of the things that I have been hearing from people is, how can I help?
Right.
So this is definitely, Megan, wouldn't you say that this is probably a really good volunteer opportunity for people that really want to get something going?
Absolutely. We invite everybody to come out, whether you're an individual or a family, or maybe you have like a team from your work, you have a scout group, a church group. We invite everybody. And like Lauren said, there's 11 sites. So, of course, we want you to come out to the one in Henrico, but there's opportunity throughout the region. So,
Absolutely.
Right.
young and old.
Yeah. What can people expect? And again, this is a video podcast, but it's also an audio podcast. So Megan has brought some toys with her, like normal. I call them toys. What kind of things have you brought today that you can show us? That and I guess they have something to do with the event.
Yes, just some tools of the trade. We have at all our sites, we have litter grabbers, and I know those of you who are listening can't see, but the usual litter grabber is about 3.5 feet long, and it squeezes on the end. We use this for safety, for when you're picking up things maybe you don't want to touch, glass bottles. We find a lot of things like that. I also, out at Osborne, we use an extra long litter grabbers, like we give to the boaters, and
cool.
also those on the shoreline who need to reach down. We also use the nets we give to the boaters. I was walking through the halls at work the other day, and people thought I was going to catch butterflies. But no. Just getting ready for the river cleanup. We do ask people to bring gloves and water. We generally have gloves, but everybody likes their own pair of sturdy gloves. Bring water, sunscreen, bug spray if you want it. We provide the trash bags, and we also, at some sites, we provide safety vests as well.
Okay.
So did I forget anything?
No, and I just wanted to add that on all of our boater sites, we do provide long-handled nets,
Right.
Even tarps that you can put on your boat to
Right.
keep your boat clean when you haul in trash. I run the Dutch Gap site in Chesterfield County, and we do
Right.
the same thing. We have a very similar setup to what Osborne does. So
Right.
we try to keep that consistent across all of our sites so that all of our volunteers have the same good experience.
Right. And that brings up a point too, that there's two parts to this. There's on land and in the water, correct?
That's right.
So it's a specialty. There's a specialty group that you need, right?
Yeah, we always have a need for boaters, particularly at our two sites. That's why we're here. Osborne needs it, and so does Dutch Gap. And we have another site this year that also has need for boaters, which is Ann Carroll's Boat Landing. So there's a boat launch there too. So those three sites in particular definitely need some boaters.
Right.
But I think there's a boating opportunity at all of our sites.
Yeah.
Our sites stretch from Lynchburg down to Goochland, Henrico, Chesterfield, all the way down to Newport News, and even James River State Park and Appomattox and Buckingham
Right.
County. So there's plenty of places for people to go and bring their boats.
Okay. So what kind of stuff do you all typically find in these kind of cleanups, and maybe some of the unusual things that you found?
Yeah, it really runs the gamut. Like, we love when we find tires. Not that we love that there are tires in the river, but we love that it's like extra manpower to get them out. Whereas if you're just doing like a single person cleanup, it's hard. So we really try to use the manpower to get the big things out. We get tires, all of the usual things that you're thinking of: bottles and cans and fast food wrappers, straws. Unfortunately, cigarette butts are still a really big issue in the litter world. At Osborne, we usually have people picking up the parking lot because, when we have, a lot of times when we have volunteers, we love to pick up the big stuff, But the little stuff is insidious as well. It's the little things that
often
get
gets
washed.
overlooked.
Right.
And I might add something about the cigarette butts because, I mean, people listening or watching right now might be thinking, well, who's at the river smoking and like tossing all their butts in the water? It's not that. That stuff is washing off the streets. I don't
Yep.
know if the next time you're at a stoplight and you look down and you'll see all the cigarette butts on the street as people wait at the light.
Right.
It starts there. It
Yeah.
starts there. It gets washed every time it rains into a storm drain. And I'm
Mhm.
going to harp that message.
Yeah.
It gets washed into a storm drain and then gets carried on to a local creek,
Right.
which then carries it to the rivers.
And they're not biodegradable. A lot of people think that that's cotton in the filter of the cigarette butt. It
No.
is not. It's a type of plastic fiber.
Yeah.
It does not biodegrade, and it holds chemicals, so they really do not belong on the ground.
Right. Right. So, how do I sign up? Do I need to register? Where do I get information? How does this work?
Easiest thing goes to James River Advisory Council website, which is jrac-va.org.
Okay.
And there's a full list of all the different sites and localities that participate, and you can sign up there as well.
Right. And Megan, when is this and how long does it last? What's the time?
Saturday, September 9th,
Right.
9 to noon.
Okay.
Osborne's a little different. We do 9 to 11.
Okay.
You'll just get to your site. There will be clearly marked tables or registration centers.
Mhm.
Of course, you can register online, but then we'll have your name and everything to check you off. We'll do
Right.
a safety briefing with you, make sure you have all the tools that we talked about,
Right.
and then you'll just be ready to go to pick up trash.
Right. Rain or shine event.
Rain or shine, we will cancel or reschedule if there's severe weather.
Right.
But if
Okay.
it's just raining, we'll
Okay.
push ahead.
Well, anything else?
I just wanted to mention that, there's always like the usual things that we find, like bottles, cans, and cigarette butts. But it's always kind of fun, too, to look out for the most unusual item.
Yeah.
And, down where we are in Dutch Gap, where, things float in, we get all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
We found motorcycles in the river. And we've even found a message in the bottle. So
Wow.
that was really neat. So we always like to try to showcase the unusual stuff that we find.
Uh-huh.
And if someone out there comes to the cleanup and finds something really cool or unusual, you'll probably get your picture taken and end up on our Facebook. So,
Nice. Sounds like some kind
Yeah.
of a contest.
We do. We have a contest every year.
yeah.
One site wins for the most unusual item.
Really?
So,
Cool.
Yeah, one year at Osborne, we won for a little Pillsbury Doughboy. He was like the kind from the 90s.
I remember that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he was.
Well, I could say
Yeah.
whoo-hoo
Yeah.
on that one, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate y'all coming out to talk about this today, and I'm excited to try to get the word out and to get people to come out and volunteer. And on our table here, once again, we've got our mascot, Stuart the Turtle, and he says, be kind to the environment and choose to reuse.
Yes.
So here we go. That's it for today. And if you want to get more information about the Heart Committee, you can go to our website, which is henrico.us/heart. All righty, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.